In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at these current conditions. We're going to be also taking a look at the upcoming pattern as well as some severe weather. Let's just get straight into things though. And first things first, we have some showery activity for a few different states going on right now, including up here for Montana, North Dakota, and Minnesota. We have some activity as well still down here in the Four Corner states where we have some heavier activity ongoing. And then for the eastern United States, there's also some sporadic showery activity. And in between here, we also had some severe weather ongoing still for Wisconsin and Michigan overnight last night heading into this morning. Let's just zoom into the northwestern United States. And as you can see, we're going to take a pretty big look here. There is some activity heading towards Washington State there, as you can see. It's now approaching Vancouver, and it is going to be heading towards Washington State, the more coastal and northern regions, very shortly. And throughout the day today, that could be impacting you guys, depending on where you're at. Now, we also have this activity here in Montana, North Dakota, and Minnesota. This is mostly showers. I do see the potential for these to be thunderstorms as well, especially there on that western end. But overall, these are actually dissipating, and I think that this is going to be less of an impact through the day today. You can tell there's a rotating low here, but this looks to be moving actually northward, so that should be also dissipating and kind of becoming less of a factor throughout the day today. Now, we did have this activity overnight, and this is also dissipated, but we were having some more strong thunderstorms overnight around 5 a.m., probably 4 a.m. for you guys, but we were having some of that severe weather, especially there in northern Wisconsin and into the western regions of the Upper Peninsula of Michigan there. That has basically come to an end, though. Now, as we take a look here, further south, much further south actually, we do see there is just this activity here hanging around New Mexico still, Texas, Oklahoma, Colorado, and even up through Kansas and Nebraska, we have these showers and thunderstorms. Now, if anything, I think it definitely looks like thunderstorms here on this northern end for Colorado, Kansas, and Nebraska, in my opinion. It looks much more like more persistent, heavier rainfall down here, which is very crazy. Usually you're seeing more isolated activity down here, but they're seeing persistent rainfall. It does happen, don't get me wrong, but it is just interesting to see it happening to this extent. All of it looks to be to the east of I-25, except on that very southern end, near where it meets with I-10. But it's still just really, really interesting to see that much rainfall, and it's been happening for a couple of days now, actually. Now, for the northeast here, we do see this showery and thunderstorm activity. It looks like showers for most areas, but thunderstorms potentially here taking place in that corridor. And we are going to see more of that throughout the day today for New York State, probably Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut will start to get involved, also Pennsylvania and New Jersey throughout the day today with that showery activity and potential for thunderstorms as well. It's going to be a pretty hot day. Keep that in mind. We did see some sporadic showers also for Virginia and North Carolina. And those are heading towards South Carolina as well, but these have lightened up through the morning. And then, as always for this time of year, we do also have kind of this sporadic activity with isolated thunderstorms down here, tropical downpours for sure for all of these Gulf states, and then also Florida, which is kind of a Gulf state, but kind of an eastern state as well. All right, with all of that being said, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and we're going to take a look at the upcoming pattern as well as the upcoming severe weather. All right, now here we are taking a look at that upcoming pattern. We're taking a look at the upcoming stormy pattern first things first. And as we take a look at this afternoon, we see this activity will still be around here for the Four Corner states there. We see the showery activity kind of lifting off up there. Also, this activity here in the northwest is approaching the coast. We do still see that isolated activity in the Gulf states, and then we still see the showers there for the northeast. So everything will kind of be similar this afternoon. As we head towards tomorrow afternoon, we can see this area stretches eastward and kind of meets up with this area. That shape's not about to be good. We do see that there is some thunderstorm potential probably from Kansas, Missouri, mostly these areas in the plains and the Ohio Valley there. So we can tell just by the look of it on the model that it's probably going to be thunderstorm activity. And also along the eastern United States, there's some of that going on as well. And we still have these heavier rains going on for the Four Corner states. So flooding is going to really, really be a concern there. The northwest, we are seeing some activity also. And as we approach Thursday, we see the coast is still getting involved with some thunderstorms and other things. We do see that the Four Corner States into the plains is still having some activity, but maybe not as much as before. So we'll have to wait and see once we get there to Thursday, but it doesn't look like quite as much activity. Friday, we do see that all of these areas are seeing some showers, potential thunderstorms as well. Really looks like some potential thunderstorms there in Iowa, Missouri, Illinois as well. And then just isolated activity along the eastern seaboard by Friday. Saturday here, we do see the southeast having some activity, but not up and down the east coast like we had seen for a few days prior. We have a low here with a cold front underneath, it appears. So that is kind of what's happening at this point. We do see some cold air potentially trying to move in behind this. Jet stream is going to be something like this at this point. So we see much warmer in the east than the west here. But that cold is moving eastward at this point by Saturday. And by Sunday here, we see that there's actually a ridge in the west and then still a ridge in the east. But this is definitely looking to move eastward here at this point. This is kind of what's taking place. Still activity there in the Four Corner States. I swear that is not coming to an end. We see the southeast has that activity still ongoing as well. And really up and down this cold front area, potential activity is taking place. Let's just move this towards Monday. And as you can see, this cold front kind of reaches the east coast with some thunderstorm potential in here. We just see all of that. That could be a potential severe weather event. Depending on how warm it is out ahead of it, usually is a pretty big determining factor in that. But my guess with that jet stream look is that it is going to be pretty hot ahead of that. And this is in the afternoon this is hitting. It's hitting a little bit earlier in the day than we see most cold fronts hit the east coast. So I think this is definitely heading east of the Appalachians at a time of day where this could really bring pretty intense impacts. And that front actually just sticks around there for the southeast, which is pretty interesting. Becomes more of a kind of a stationary front, I would say. We do see that by Wednesday, it's going to be June 29th, we see a lot of activity here in the southeast with that front. We also see some sort of boundary here over top as well, bringing some activity. Let's just look at Thursday. Southeast hanging on to some of that activity, and again, just a front going on up there. Our jet stream is looking something like this, so the coast might still be pretty warm, actually. That trough looks to be a little bit further inland, in my opinion, for the most part. Kind of tilted that way. And then we definitely see a ridge here in the west. So we're going to see things dramatically warm up later in the month for the west coast, it appears. All right, now for the total precipitation through the next 10 days, if you're anywhere in the whites, you're expecting no precipitation for the most part over the next 10 days. And that does get us to July 1st, so that's the rest of the month basically. If you're anywhere in the grays, you're expecting 1/10 of an inch or less of precipitation. Your greens will be 1/10 of an inch to 1/2 inch of precipitation. Your blues will be 1/2 inch to 1 inch of precipitation. Your yellows will be 1 inch to 2 inches. And then your reds will be 2 to 5 inches of precipitation. Your browns will be 5 to 10 inches of precipitation as well. So that's going to be our highest amounts. As you can see, I mean, looking from coast to coast, there isn't as much precipitation expected as a typical June 10-day period. It's looking awfully quiet, actually, for the most part, in my opinion. Now, for total snowfall, look at this, guys. We're dramatically lowering here for the very tail end of June, where we basically just expect a dusting, if anything, there in those gray areas. There is a little bit of blue popping up there for Montana, I see, so 2 to 6 inches of snowfall there. But I don't see any purples, pinks, or pastels, except for up there in Canada, where the purples are 6 to 10 inches, the pinks are 10 to 20 inches, and your pastels are 20 inches plus. But we're seeing this dramatically recede here, which is a sign that we are in the very, very middle of summer, which today does mark the very middle of summer, so it kind of makes sense. Anyway, what we're going to do is we're going to move on, and we're going to take a look at the upcoming temperature pattern, and then afterwards we're going to take a look at that Storm Prediction Center. All right, now here we are taking a look at this upcoming temperature pattern. As you can see, we do have some warmer temperatures there along the west coast, but for the most part, we do see a trough here in the west, ridge in the east. The showery activity is causing things to be colder here. So that is not going to be like an air mass causing that. That is the actual cloudiness and the precipitation that is causing the temperatures to be colder because the sun isn't getting through. So a little interesting fact there. Now, for Wednesday, we see things get a little bit warmer out west here. Definitely getting hotter for the east though, so the ridge is primarily over the east still, and this is that heat wave. I do have an apology to make, guys. Every single day now, it's getting worse now, but this has looked dramatically less intense, especially the last 24 hours. So I do apologize. I think um, it's going to be a little bit less of a major heat wave. I think that there's a lot of areas that will see that 90 plus for 3+ days. So it will actually be a heat wave, but I'm just apologizing because these models were calling for 20 degrees or more above normal for like 5 days in a row. And it's not going to be even close to that. It might be about 10 degrees above normal for, maybe 4 or 5 days in a row. So it's going to be about half as bad as I anticipated about, I don't know how long ago that was, 3 or 4 days ago. But I do apologize. That is one where it just got it wrong. I don't know how to explain it, but the models just really didn't have a good handle on it, and it does happen. But definitely, we're gonna keep that in mind this upcoming year because sometimes when models do something like that, they have a tendency to also repeat. We see that with snowstorms a lot. Like they'll call for a major snowstorm and then they back off. If we see that happen, we know that it does have a tendency to continue to happen that winter. So with heat waves this summer, I'm going to keep in mind that they might jump the gun a little bit and we need to take it with a grain of salt. Usually that's an air mass or, the type of event that they definitely do have a good handle on oftentimes, but just not in this case. So I do apologize for that. But that is your Wednesday temperatures, about 10 degrees to 15 degrees above normal there for all of those darker red regions. Thursday, we still see these darker reds down here as well as for the upper Midwest. Let's look at Friday. Darker reds down here. So again, we expected widespread browns, and that is just definitely not the case here. Saturday, we do get those browns here for Saturday here for kind of the deep south. Let's take a look at Sunday. We get those again down here. But this model might be jumping the gun because this is what it was showing for the more southeastern United States a couple of days ago, and that just definitely did not happen. Monday is really when the pattern switches. We see a big ridge develop in the west, and primarily the trough here is located over the east, I would say, here for Monday, June 27th. So that's the date that we're kind of watching for things to change. Friday is near normal for the eastern United States, dramatically cooler than it was. Wednesday is warming up a little bit, but still the primary ridge is going to be here in the better yet, the western United States. Thursday, still it's over here. We do see some warming here in the east, but we have an approaching cold front actually potentially about to take place around Thursday, Friday. That's going to be the last day of June into the 1st of July potentially. Anyway, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on and take a look at the Storm Prediction Center. All right, now here's the day one categorical outlook for today on Tuesday, June 21st. We have 4 areas with general thunderstorm risks. It's going to be for the deeper south, the northeast, the north central United States, and then that area from the 4 corner states all the way up through the Ohio Valley and the Great Lakes. So all of the lighter green regions is where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible, so heed every watch, warning, and advisory. The darker green region there for Kansas up through into even Michigan, that is where we have a marginal risk at severe weather, and that's where we expect isolated severe weather to take place in there. Now for day 2, things get a little bit more intense here. We have 4 general thunderstorm risks. Again, one there for southern Florida, one there for the deep south, and then one there for California, very interesting, and then one there for the 4 corner states all the way through the eastern United States. And again, heed every watch, warning, and advisory because these areas could see severe weather even though it's not expected at this point. Our darker green region from the Ohio Valley all the way through into the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast, that is where we expect isolated severe weather to take place in that marginal risk area. Again, the darker green region. The yellow area there is our slight risk area where we expect scattered severe weather to take place. So a little bit worse there for the Mid-Atlantic on the day tomorrow on Wednesday, June 22nd. And for day 3, finally, we have 2 general thunderstorm risks here. And that is, again, where we expect general thunderstorms, but anything is possible. So heed every watch, warning, and advisory. And then we have 3 marginal risks, actually. One for Kansas and Nebraska, one there for the Dakotas and Minnesota, and then one there for Montana. That's looking pretty interesting, but that's where we expect isolated severe weather to take place. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, we're at a 4 out of 6. There's nothing really major that we're talking about in the upcoming pattern. It is a pretty interesting pattern. But we're mostly in a transitionary pattern, and it's mostly the biggest question is, will the pattern actually flip after the weekend? So around Sunday, Monday timeframe, will we see that temperature pattern flip? At this point, I think it will, but it's not like a 5 out of 6 confidence. It's more like a 4 out of 6 confidence. Hence why I picked a 4 out of 6 and not a 5 out of 6. I think that makes sense. Anyway, for today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons: Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Eagle, Larry LePan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also thank our diamond patrons: Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Michaelessa, Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Garys, and John Khaleesi also. Also to thank our channel members Catbite, Team Fan, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.